All right, so we can make random numbers and we can ask the user for input. So let's combine those two things and make a little bit of a guessing game. All right, so let's start on line 1. We're going to ask the person to pick a number from 1 through 10. So console.writeLine, please pick a number from 1 through 10. Awesome, right? That'll print to the screen. And then we need to actually randomly create a number from 1 to 10 because we want the game to be different every time. We don't want the number to always be the same thing. So we're going to use random. Random equals new random. All right, and then we're going to do int random number is equal to random.next 1, 11. Remember, this random.next 1, 11 makes a random number beginning from 1 and then up to, but not including, 11. That is the weird thing about this. So remember, the first number is inclusive. The second number is exclusive. So this will give us a random number from 1 through 10. All right, and then we will do console.readLine. And then actually, let's say this in the variable. So we're going to do string user input is equal to console.readLine. All right. Now, this looks like a pretty good guessing game so far. We asked them a question. Now we didn't ask them a question. We just said to pick a number. We made the random number, and then they're going to type in the number, and then we're going to check. However, there's a couple of things that we need to be able to do from here. So it looks like the possibility is either the person guesses correctly or they don't. So there's two possibilities. Well, how are we going to tell the computer what to do under different circumstances? Because the computer should do something different. If they guessed the number correctly, the computer should say they won. If they didn't guess the number correctly, the computer should say something else. So we need to program the computer for all eventualities. It needs to know what to do in every single circumstance, or else the computer isn't going to do anything. And that's not good. We wanted to do something. So we need conditionals. And the conditionals are if statements, right? So we have one condition where the user guesses the random number. We say they won. And the second one is the user guesses wrong. We tell them, so sorry. All right, so to make the computer handle these two different possibilities, we're going to use if statements, okay? If, parentheses, and then we're going to put a condition inside. So we're going to do random number double equals user input. And then after the parentheses, we're going to do squiggly brackets. So if some condition, and then it will do whatever code's inside the squiggly braces. And again, just like for for loops, you can put as much stuff in here as you want. Now you notice that there's a red on line 9. And let's hover over it. It says operator equals cannot be applied to operands of type int and string. User input is a string. This variable, user input, is a string. This variable random number is an integer. They don't match. If they don't match, you can't compare them. You can't use equals. So this double equals says that they're both equal. So if they're both equal, but the problem is user input is a string, we need to convert user input from a string to an integer. That way they could both be compared. Okay, you probably could turn random number to a string, but let's go ahead and take user input and turn it into an integer. All right, the way in which you can transform a string into an integer is to do int.parse, and then it will take parentheses. Notice how these parentheses keep coming up, right? So we have random.next had parentheses, and then we put stuff in there. Now we have int.parse with parentheses, and then we put this user input in there. Holy cow, look at this. Now that red went away. We have that green, which is a warning, which we'll deal with later. But for right now, we're saying on line 9, if the random number that was generated is equal to the user input, and take the user input and turn it into an integer. Take this string and turn it into an integer. So if the two are equal, meaning that the person guessed the correct number, then we are going to console.writeLine winner winner chicken dinner. All right, let them know that they won. Okay, so we've got the first condition. Okay, the user guesses the random number correctly, and we say that they won. There's another condition that they're wrong. So we need to have the computer do something else if they're wrong. So if the random number is equal to the user input, we'll write line 11. Else, notice how else does not have parentheses like if does, right? Because else doesn't need it. Else says if it didn't happen from lines 9 through 12, then come down to here. So here we'll do console.writeLine, too bad, so sad. All right. So if they guess the number correctly, and by guessing the number correctly, it means that the random number that we made is the same as the number that they put in, then we're going to say winner, winner, chicken dinner. Otherwise, else, say too bad, so sad, right? Because there's only two options. Okay, so if, else. So it means, so you can think of it like this. The computer will either run lines 9 through 12 or 13 through 16, depending on what happens. And this is great because now our program has some instructions for what to do under different circumstances. So let's run our game. Again, we're kind of assuming the person's not going to put like some random stuff in. All right, so let's say I do like 2. Too bad, so sad. I didn't get it. Let's play one more time. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay, so 3 was the random number. Let's play again. Let's say it's 10. Too bad, so sad. So now every game plays a little bit differently. Okay, the number is random. We ask the person for what number that they think. And then if they win, we say winner, winner, chicken dinner. Otherwise, we say too bad, so sad. So that means that we are able now to tell the computer what to do under different circumstances. There's a couple things about this program that could go wrong, though. So, for example, what happens if the person just puts in, like, aardvark? Right? The user is under no rules saying that they can't put whatever they want in here. And if they put aardvark, well, I can't take aardvark and turn that into a number. So this int.parse is basically saying, hey, take this string, which is basically a number, and turn it into an integer. But what if they give us aardvark? Let's see what happens. We get an exception. The unhandled exception, unhandled system.format exception. And now we've crashed. So now our program has stopped. It's crashed. We have this horrible, gut-wrenching system.format exception, and we found a bug basically. All right. So how are we going to handle this? How are we going to make certain that the user gives us what we want them to give us? That's what we're going to handle in the next part.